Hola, ¿cómo están? Gonza, Botquito por acá. Bueno, estamos de vuelta después de como 2 meses de vacaciones. Y también el Insight, que estaba de vacaciones, ya volvió después de bastante tiempo. Así que nada, bienvenido a otro Insight. Ya saben, hoy nos acompañan Maurito y el Peluca, que están ahí atrás. Y
Buenas,
nada,
buenas.
vamos a hacer tipo un mini debate, como hacemos siempre, para la gente que no sabe qué es el Insight. Y vamos a ir viéndolo, traduciéndolo al español. Igual va a estar subtitulado ahí abajo, pero vamos a ir parando y debatiéndolo a ver qué nos traen. Así que hice el Lorville Revisit Winter 2023. Parece que van a hablar de Lorville, a ver.
It's a new year, and like every new year before it, here at CIG, January is a
Sí hice la peluca ayer,
time of planning, of summits, of getting together and looking back at how the plans and activities of last year went, to revise and inform the direction and processes of the one ahead. And to do so, all while still working diligently on Alpha 3.18, Star Citizen's biggest patch since 2017. One that will serve as future foundation for the persistent universe's development going forward. And to say it's a busy time in the studios at this moment would be an understatement. But it's also an opportunity for ISC to stretch its legs a bit like we always do. Maybe try a few new things here and there to take advantage of the first real big series of internal gatherings we've been able to have since the pandemic began, and continue to look at as many aspects of video game development as we can, while always doing our best to not get in the way of that very same development. And I'm sure the editors will tell me that was my longest single run-on sentence in ISC history.
Sí.
So this quarter, we can look forward to seeing a few teams that we haven't seen in a while, meet some that are newly formed for the needs of this new year, continue to look farther forward than usual with our Journey to 4.0 specials, and of course, continue to look at work currently in progress for the next quarterly release, which is where we're going to start this week. Now, while Alpha 3.18 is still working its way through PTU, let's jump ahead to a little of what's on its way for Alpha 3.19 after that, where during a recent environment team summit here in the UK, we asked visiting members from our Montreal studio to discuss the next evolution of crashed derelicts making their way into the persistent universe, including new variations to existing favorites in multiple stages of decay, and the addition of modular habitation units that will soon allow for the continued creation of new mission locations from the tiniest of barracks to the most impressive of shantytowns.
¿Qué cosa, Mauro?
Es la primera vez que se menciona la 319, ¿no?
Sí, yo te iba a hablar por eso. Te iba a decir, ¿qué mierda va a venir en la 319? Porque nunca dijeron nada.
No, pero figuraba, en la página estaba, ¿eh?
En el roadmap está. En el roadmap, pero...
el roadmap figuró siempre, pero
no decía nada.
Nunca se habló nada, nunca se mencionó ni nada.
Seguramente va a venir la segunda parte del salvage. O un poco más... No, la verdad no sé. De la carga física, digo, en realidad. A ver, no sé. Vamos a ver. Ok. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Yela? Yela, sí. Me hace acordar algo. ¿Se acuerdan de esto? ¿Esta imagen? ¿No se acuerdan? Coméntenme en los comentarios a ver si alguien se acordaba. Cuando me robé la freelancer, que le hice la autodestrucción. Y era en Yela, era esta imagen exactamente.
Derelicts are important because it's adding content, enriching the experience for the player. It's like telling a story as well as the actual piece of a derelict that's there.
Something else happening.
The derelicts who are in the game right now are super nice. I'm super happy about them. We have really nice shapes. We can really feel the scale. We can see how big they are.
They're impressive from a distance.
Muy bueno. Este es en Daemon. Bueno, ¿viste peluca el otro día del stream? Estuve en. El último video que subí a YouTube está esto, que fui a verlo. Está bueno, pero la parte de las 600 ahí está muy para atrás. Porque me bajaban los FPS a 10, 15. Espero que lo mejoren.
The rustic feel, the abandonedness, these big, enormous, impressive shapes and silhouettes that you get to explore.
Muy bien hecho.
Having all the vegetation growing up on them bring really a second life, and it's super interesting to see that bring kind of adventure side of all those things, a mysterious side.
Indiana Jones kind of style, this exploring, discovering. There's a variety for players like to experience, to go back, revisit, and enjoy the derelict.
No entendí, como que dijo algo como que un chiste, ¿no? Como que a Indiana Jones le gustaría conocer ahí o qué, no entendí. ¿Qué es esto? Ah, esta es la Starfire.
I think we can improve the speed to create those because they are really big location. We need to have a lot of artists working on those because it's really a huge amount of work to work on those one, and we want to create 100 of them everywhere on different planets and moons.
Adding more of the, like, because we have like OCs, so like dressing them up immediately instead of hand placing all the rocks, the foliage, and all the like visual elements separately by hand. We should make actually like nicer modules that are already like pre-assembled and like most of the stuff is already contained in it. So that way we can like deploy it, spend a bit more time on detailing.
Esto está hermoso, boludo. Bueno, viste ahí en el de Dayman está buenísimo la sala que hay. No sé si vieron el video que se puede poner cerradura de adentro y todo. Está espectacular. Se puede usar para PvP, para... Uf. Me encantaría que ya eso lo larguen para hacer bases, boludo. Te juro, boludo.
Just an extra pass, an extra level of depth to the art.
What I like the most on the new ship we did, we create a deeper story about those crash sites. With the Star Runner crashing on the planet and having the 600i just crashing on the mountain.
Ve, ahí está la 600 que yo digo. Y ahí abajo, donde bajaban esto, está re bugueado.
We can just think about maybe they got a fight on the sky and they get hit and the boat get crashed just by themselves.
We really set out to add different variations of age to our ships.
Mira.
So we have like the freshly crashed ships, the older ones that the planet overgrown over, and we have the very like derelicts as like just a skeleton of the ship that's remaining. But really just the frame of the actual ship that's just abandoned and rusted out.
Muy bueno. Gente, acá lo que están hablando, más o menos, por un mini resumen, están hablando del environment, de la zona de afuera, de los lugares estos, los Delerec, que están explicando la vegetación, están explicando todo lo que ya hay. Y lo bueno que está, y lo que están por agregar. Me imagino que ahora van a decir, bueno, en la 3.19 vamos a poner, no sé, en Horizon una parte de que, no sé, está haciendo como que un resumen de lo que están haciendo ya.
Volvé así a la imagen de las variantes de las explosiones.
Son tipo la variante de las abandonadas. Parece que en cierto lugar va a haber. Ahí está, ¿eh?
Esa.
En cierto lugar va a estar esta, claro.
Sí.
Pero, es decir,
distintos modelos, sí.
Depende del lugar, van a tirar esto o la misma se va a ir degradando. No creo.
Diferentes variaciones de antigüedad, los barcos.
Claro. Pero te digo lo que voy estos modelos van a estar, es decir, este modelo va a estar en un lugar. Este que está todo oxidado capaz está en el medio del desierto en otro lugar. ¿O será que se va a ir degradando a medida que pasa el tiempo? No creo, ¿no? Muy real ya.
Todavía no, creo que
en
no.
principio no sé.
Es un montón, ¿no? Lo que dije.
En principio no creo.
Pero está bueno, está bueno. Y estaría bueno que haya muchos lugares de esto. No importa que sean lo mismo, pero que haya mucho más puestos, mucho. En Daymar hay uno solo, creo. Y tenés que hacer 300 kilómetros y tenés que llegar únicamente con una misión. Poné un punto de salto y de última vas a PvPear o ¿entendés? Eso estaría buenísimo.
So we have like the freshly crashed ships, the older ones that the planet overgrown over, and we have the very like derelicts as like just a skeleton of the ship that's remaining. But really just the frame of the actual ship that's just abandoned and
Pero eso es más
out.
Decoración. Hola, gatito. Recuerden, gente de YouTube, que estamos todos los días en Twitch de 3 de la tarde a 7 de la tarde México. Acá abajo en la descripción les voy a dejar los links para que entren.
The first ages of the derelict crash site is the fire one. That's it's when the ship just crashed, it's still on fire. We still have power in it, we still have sparks.
Ok.
The second age is crash. So that's the ship is crashed there, but maybe just a week after that. So no fire, no smoke
Ojo, lo que te estoy diciendo, ¿viste?
anymore.
A ver.
No power inside the ship, no sparks. The third age is the biome, it's overgrown. It's when the biome just take its place back. We're going to have more sand on it, we have more dirt, we have grass, going to have leaves and vine growing up on it.
The fourth version is the paint's been worn off. It's been in the sun for an extended period of time. It's scratched up. It's a lot of rust that's been overgrown. It's been scavenged. People have visited the ship, and it's missing pieces, panels. So a lot of wires are hanging. It's been used. It's been harvested, basically.
Harvest.
And I'm really excited about the derelict habs that we'll be adding to them. We're looking at a library of habs to create these little settlements.
We create those library because we want to reuse all those habs on different ship and create the...
Buenísimo. Me encantaría, boludo, que sea tipo...
¿Una ciudad?
Una ciudad en vez de estación espacial o bajar a Lorville. Que haya una ciudad en el medio de Deimar, en el medio de la nada, para ir a comprar armas. Para
afueras
piratas, estaría bueno, ¿no?
Las afueras de Tatooine.
Las afuera de... ¿Cuál es? Ah, la de Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Sí, verdad. Estaría bueno, sí, así como dice ahí Astro, un pueblo. Estaría buenísimo. La verdad está bueno. Ah, y volviendo a lo que había dicho, ¿no estaba? ¿Viste qué dijo? Como que va a tener 4 edades la nave. Como que la primera semana va a estar así con fuego. La segunda semana va a estar un poco oxidada. Después la tercera, así que puede ser, ¿eh? Como que
Esperemos que digan a ver si va a ser dinámico o estático. Yo no le creo que sea dinámico.
Pero dijo como que va a tener 4 edades. Y no, por ahora no dijo como que en un lugar va a estar cierta... Vamos a ver.
Different stories and
Ay, me emocioné.
depth about why that ship is there and who is going to live around.
We have like interiors. We have some that is just for like sheltering from the sun and the harsh conditions of the planet.
Eso está buenísimo.
We have some that's just for like for sleeping. Ooh, there's some that have like little bars, little setups inside. People can eat, can...
Esto está muy flashero, me imagino igual. Porque dijo para acostarse a dormir. Estaría bueno, ¿no? Log out ahí y aparecer en la cama esa. Estaría espectacular. Tipo un hotel. Puede ser.
Can meet up. Some other ones are just for like electricity generation. We have solar panels on some of them.
When people find those ships, they kind of salvage them, so they took part and kind of create some kind of habitation because they want to live around those crash sites to be able to protect themselves for the weather.
These little mini camps, basically, that people can go and explore. These can be added to the new derelicts, but also to the old ones as well. We made them pretty flexible in terms of look because we can change up the wear and tear on these things, so we can add different ages to them. We can make them look extra rusty, or we can look like pretty much brand new, like they just scavenged the ship and made these little huts out of the panels and stuff.
Okay.
The purpose is to have a multi-use, multi-ages, different environments that they can suit into either snow, sand environments, different weather, into the jungle. Like, it's a multi-purpose habs library that, yeah, it's just increase our speed and everything.
Qué bueno que está. Sí, tipo una ciudad hecha con las naves.
So the idea was to finish our library in the last years. So now with the next mandate, with the next derelict crash, we'll be able to create all those shanty towns everywhere on different planets. So that will bring more gameplay and more opportunity to the player to just go around and visit them.
Ahí está. Sí, van a ser tipo una ciudad, mirá. Ahí está. Está Bosquito. Van a ser ciudades de pirata. Esto capaz lo tiran igual para Pyro, ¿no? O no sé. No, Daymar está seguro.
constant game development that's
Roleamos la de nuestra casa y nos quedamos ahí. Y los que vienen, que
Olvídate,
entren.
olvídate. Si me deja, si por ejemplo en esa ciudad te deja, me imagino que te va a dejar sacar super naves, pero capaz tiene un pad para sacar naves de combate chiquita y podés dormir ahí, golazo.
change. Or in this case, the continuing iteration by a dedicated team to populate the planets and moons of Stanton and Pyro with not only the derelicts and shantytowns that we saw, but our landing zones like Lorville. Now, we first spoke of the upcoming changes to Lorville in a Journey to 4.0 segment at
Claro.
CitizenCon 2952.
Sí, sí.
But while we had the folks in town, we thought it'd be worth checking in on the team's progress while they were here.
Ok.
Progress that's, quite
Van a hablar
frankly,
de
going so
Lorville.
well, we're starting to think this new version of our
¿Se
oldest
acuerdan
landing
que
zone
Lorville iba a
might
hacer un
just
rework?
arrive a
Bueno.
little sooner than expected.
Vamos a ver cómo va.
Since the last
¿Cómo
time we
viene?
talked about Lorville 2.0, a lot of things have changed. It has evolved. The key element that changed is the detail level of all the elements, and I explicitly like to mention the buildings. So there's details that really enhances the building believability.
Quedó más
All
facherita de
the
Lorville.
industrial outskirts
Un área
really give
18
the
en el
impression of
desierto.
Exactamente. Por cierto, si Panqueque llega ahora, después que terminemos el Insight, vamos a hacer el lore, historia. Panqueque se escribió una guía. Vamos a hablar de Lorville, de la historia, de cómo empezó, quién es, quiénes son los jefes de Lorville, quién vive ahí y por qué hay tanta industria y qué industria. Todo. Historia de Lorville vamos a hacer después de esto.
scale of the city. It will be iconic. Our materials are much more closer to a final look. We were going to a path of adding more tints and variety in color to the buildings and the surrounding structures, as well adding a lot of emissives throughout the city, and that gives like a good impression of the
Mira qué lindo.
day and the night cycle.
Mira. Qué bueno. Como que lo hicieron más fino, ¿no? Como que más lindo, más adinerado. No es tanto fábrica como era antes, ¿no?
Eso sí.
The branding is very Hurston family centric. Like they're very
Bueno, ahí abajo están haciendo esto para correr carreras de naves. Esto. Que está ahí. Y después esto acá en el medio que hicieron un edificio con un hueco también.
brutalist in a way, and yeah, it will be iconic. The process of going from first pass into final, sometimes we have to break a bit of stuff because as we're finding out the correct scale of the buildings, validate how it looks and how it works together, and we realize certain things need to be aligned differently. We have to go into and remove some buildings or rearrange some
Claro.
neighborhoods to make them fit together in a more cohesive way.
Ahí está, mira lo que les decía yo.
There's things beyond like the new buildings. There's new pathways, there's the trenches, there's some tunnels as well, going into like those pyramid shapes that comes from Eric's concept, and we've added tunnels to those. There's cranes, and they create an opportunity to fly
tipo una
on the
pista,
dam,
digamos.
flowing from the
Pista carrera.
outside of the city to the inside, and pipelines. And there's a way of finding your way into Lorville with all these things that we've added, and it has like a really fun structure, easy ways to find where you're at.
Muy bueno.
We're adding more landing pads, especially on the building rooftops.
Gracias.
They create opportunities for
Ah, mira, te pone
gameplay,
18.
for pickup missions, and for the future of building interiors as well, or just simple mission types of stuff to do on the rooftops.
Ok. Está bueno.
The city is quite expanded, so it's extending much further in terms of like the industrial areas that we're adding to the outreach of the city, the outskirts. They feel like they have a purpose. They have like quarries.
Che, yo lo que quiero saber, vos, Mauro, ¿dónde van a estar los búnker grandes estos? ¿Te acuerdas que dijeron que iban a agregar los mega búnkeres estos?
Y eso es 4.0.
¿Pero en dónde lo van a poner eso? ¿Tipo, Empire? ¿O van a sacar los búnker chiquitos que tenemos y van a poner esos grandes? ¿En todos lados van a estar?
Sí, 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 vuelan los chicos, va a haber de todo, va a haber los chicos, los medianos, los grandes, va a haber de diferentes tamaños.
Eso va a estar bueno.
They have like the pipelines, they have like industry or manufacturing. The lead up to the city, it feels functional. There's like smokestacks, activity going on with cranes, and it makes like a fun layout. We've experimented with moving L19 or the CBD or the spaceport in relationship to each other. In the end, we barely moved them. Only moved like the spaceport slightly, like a few hundred meters. That's not a lot in the whole scale of the city. What you'll see from the vistas from those places is going to be really a big positive change, I think. And it's still something we're tweaking and working on because we really want to make those work like key shots, basically, for those vistas. Travel through the city is not changing other than the fact that the transit to the gates will be a bit extended, but the view from the transit will be a lot different in a good way, less repeated. You feel more like you're in a real city, and we'll take like a special care along like the path of the train.
Qué capo, boludo. Cómo piensan en todo, boludo.
The key to changing Lorville is the opportunity to have like a whole city built to scale so that we can fly in and there's no zones that are blocked to the player. Different viewpoints throughout the city where we can land. And it's preparing also the ground for the future updates like the building interiors, because the original buildings in Lorville were much too small to have buildings and building interiors in the future. And you're gonna hear more about the building interiors in a few weeks.
Epa, ojo. Seguro va a salir un insight.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the crash derelict system is continuing to evolve as more and more locations are added to the standard system in the upcoming Alpha 3.19. That progress on the new Lorville isn't just looking great and coming along fast, it's also in preparation for its own next evolution that includes building interiors, which, as Maxime said, we'll be discussing in just a couple weeks. And overall, this week is a reminder that iteration is at the heart of any game's development, and that while the new and shiny will always get the most attention, it's just as important to continue maturing what's come before to ensure the better after. And as for the right now and Alpha 3.18, well, that's still going through its paces on our public test universe.
Sí, bueno,
And you should keep an eye on the robertspaceindustriescom website. And
venga, ya está hablando pelotudeces ya. Nada, habla de la 3.18 que todavía está en la PTU, pero lárguenlo para el Wave 2, ¿no? Para todo el mundo. Que lo pruebe. No entiendo para qué hacen eso. Será para que no se le exploten los servidores, ¿no? Me imagino. No sé. Bueno, gente. ¿Algo que comentar, chicos? ¿Qué opinaron del Lorville Reward? Está bueno, creo, ¿no?
Muy lindo. Me preocupa un poco que le den el mismo trabajo a las 500 ciudades de los 50 sistemas estelares que va a haber.
Yo creo que
dicen que haciendo una después es más fácil.
Supuestamente, es como el copy-paste, ¿no? Copiar, pegar y ya está. Es como también los Delerix, eso que están haciendo en Daymar. Supuestamente ya ahora hacen clic, clic, clic y te hacen un Deleric, un Rex ahí en cualquier lugar. Así que bueno, nada. Pero está bueno que le pongan ahí. Yo sé que hay bugs. Arreglame el bug del altímetro, no sé si se arregló ya. Pero está bueno esto. Tiene mucho futuro, muy lindo está. Bueno, nada. Vamos a dejarlo acá. Ya se terminó igual el insight, no es mucho más. Así que bueno, gente de YouTube, se agradece que le pongan like, que comenten acá abajo qué les pareció, les gustó, no les gustó el reward de Lorville, qué les pareció el insight, estuvo bueno, le faltó contenido. Y no olviden de suscribirse también, que me ayudan una banda. Y bueno, nada, eso, nos vemos el próximo insight. Me imagino que el jueves que viene. Así que bueno. Nos vemos, Maurito. Chau, Peluca.
Nos vemos, gente.
Nos vemos.
Chau, gente.